extent of the segments, because we're going to use that for the stereo matching. At the moment, because we've just picked up the 2 points on the line to estimate the equation of the line, that just gives us an infinite line which goes through the points. So as you can see with these little bit of the wedge right here, it sort of starts there and ends there, but the line itself goes all the way across the image, and we don't really want that. So one of the things we're going to want to do is find the extent of that edge. Okay, we'll do that in a minute, but here's a quick little zoom in on the wedge. You can see the little wedge shape here from the 2 different wedges, and this is the left and right image. And you can see that we found all the edges of the wedge quite well. There are some duplicated edges to sort of noisy points. Sometimes there's just a single line, like right here, that goes through all the edge points as well. And there's lots of other sort of random lines that go across through here related to other bits of edge in the image. So I mentioned something about finding the endpoints of the segment, and this is what we're going to do now. So we've got our infinite line, and what we want to do is really find the first point and the last point along this infinite line in terms of where our data points are going to be. And part of what we're going to do is we're going to project all the edge points that we see down onto that line. Because of image noise and things like that, the points are not going to lie exactly on the line. We have to project them downwards. And the way we do that is just with a little bit of a sort of standard geometry. Here is the direction going through the line. Here's one of the points that lies on the line. Here's a sample edge point that's within our 2.5 pixels. And from that, we can estimate by the projection here of this vector xp onto the a direction vector, we can estimate this lambda, which is effectively how far along the segment from the point P that we've got for the position of that point. We're going to do that for all the points that lie close to the line. And we're going to effectively look for the first point to the last point. That's going to be the extent of our segment. Now we're going to have to do a little bit of kind of tidying in advance, because if we look back, here, for example, at this line, okay, it goes just fine along here, but it also is going to cross a few other edge points here and there along the line. Most of the pixels lie along the line segment right here and along the corner of the edge of the block, but as I say, there's a few extras. So we're going to have to do a little bit of heuristic cleaning, and that's what this next step right is here. We're going to look at points, and we're going to look at how many neighbors they have within a certain distance of that point. And if they have enough neighbors, then we say, oh, this looks like a real segment. And if they don't have enough neighbors, we're going to throw that point away. Okay, and we go through and kind of clean out all these sort of just random dangling coincidental intersection points, and that should hopefully leave us with a segment. There are more sort of heuristic analyses that we should and could do, but we haven't done them here, because this is actually good enough for almost all of the segments. Okay, so finally, that's once we've done that cleaning, then we just take the first endpoint and the last endpoint, and that gives us our set of points. We could also do a kind of least squares fit of the points to the line to give us a slightly better estimate of the equation of the line, and then we're sort of done with this bit right here. Okay, so here's and not the lines, but these are the edge points that were actually used as that process of finding those lines right there. We'll see the edge segments later in another lecture, but here these are the lines themselves that we've used, or sort of the edge points that we've used. And you can see we've used quite a lot of them. That's because of all these different sort of lines moving in all sorts of different directions around across the image. Here is a view of the actual lines that belong to the edge we've detected all of those. And I'll zoom in to get a kind of a bigger view of those so we can talk a little bit more about it for a second. Right, so here we can see a zoomed in view of one of those images, and you see each of the major edges of these 2 wedges right here have a blue line that goes along that edge, so we've definitely found a line which belongs to it. What I've also drawn here is a little red asterisk, and each of those asterisks show the center of the line segment that's actually been found for that edge. So this one's done quite well. You can see, so from this corner down to here, here's our segment, and there's our little center of that line segment, which is pretty close to the middle, which should probably be around here. And you can see for 6 of the 7 edges for this particular wedge that that line segment is done pretty well. The 7th one is this segment right here, and the center of the line segment is actually up here. And you can kind of understand why when you look at the image, because you can see that the edge of this block, just by coincidence, is lying pretty close to the edge of this crisp can right here. And as a consequence of that, there's a lot of edges there, and it found a longer segment somewhere along here, and that's the center of it. Similarly, with some of the edges that have been found over here, they don't all lie on, sort of 6 of them lie there, but there's another one that lies off, and oh, sorry, I missed this one right here. This edge also has something that lies off right there. We're going to be able to do a little bit of cleaning when we start to look at pairs of images and look at some of the stereo geometry, but for now, that's the edges for this particular scene. Right, so what have we seen right here? Well, we have the RANSAC algorithm, which is a great algorithm for finding features, especially in very cluttered kinds of images. And it's a parametric type algorithm, so we can use it to find other kinds of features. And it's a tunable algorithm, so we can kind of control how often it succeeds or fails. For our particular problem, unfortunately, our edge detector found lots of edges, and what that's meant is that there's going to be lots of lines. But fortunately, the lines that were particularly interested for doing the stereo matching, it did find those. So far, we applied a little bit of a heuristic, but just based on analyzing single images. And so this has given us lines some of which are a little bit too long. They extend considerably beyond the actual bit that we want because of coincidental alignments. But we'll be able to deal with those coming up in a future lecture. Thank you.